What is up, guys? Private Eye Russ here, and welcome to another episode of the Private Eye Russ Show. I am your host, owner, operator, full-service private investigation and consulting firm, Private Eye Russ. Corporate investigations, criminal defense investigations, litigation support investigations, premarital background investigations. That is a big one. You have to vet women thoroughly before you get married, guys. If you're going to get married, which I don't endorse, but I know some of you are, I will give you the answers you deserve. One-on-one personal development coaching. I've got you guys covered. Hit me up at russ@privateeruss.com. That's RUSS at privateeruss.com. Let's go ahead and get into this. All right, so this one is a shocking story for some, but not really for me because I've actually worked on cases that involved this particular phenomenon. It is a vile phenomenon, and I've seen it from both sides. You guys will see once we get into the video. Don't want to spoil it just yet. And so, all I'll say is this. I will pause frequently throughout the video. It's a very short video, but I'll pause and give some commentary and give you some background about one particular case I worked on that wound up being very similar to this one. And it's something that shouldn't happen, but it does. All right, so again, let's go ahead and put this out there, fair use, and let's go.
Dear gosh, y'all, I don't know if you're ready for this story. Be prepared. So this nurse right here allegedly told her 15-year-old stepson that she was horny. She then raped him, dropped the G, and her husband / his father walked in on them. This story is wild.
Okay. On the cases I've worked on that involved this kind of phenomenon, I've seen it to where it was a stepmom and stepson. I've also seen it to where it was a stepdad and stepdaughter. Again, it's vile. It is disgusting. No matter what the dynamic is, this is something that should not happen. But the reason it is able to happen is that people don't understand or don't really keep their finger on the pulse of what's going on in the relationship with their child and their new spouse or the new significant other or somebody you moved in with. You've got to stay on top of those things. You have to watch and see what's going on. And think of it like this. If you have a teenage boy and he is not related by blood or by marriage to a woman, would you want that woman in close proximity, alone and unattended with that teenage boy, 16, 17-year-old boy, and behave accordingly? But people drop their guard. Someone's a member of the household and everybody has access to everything. So there are predatory people out there, so you got to watch out. Anyways, keep going.
So 34-year-old Alexis Von Yates was reportedly arrested last year, and she was charged with sexual battery on a victim between the ages of 12 and 15. This was over the alleged incident that occurred in July of last year, 2024. She also reportedly had her nursing license revoked by the state of Florida last week. According to the arrest affidavit, her husband Frank, which was the 15-year-old victim's father, walked in on the incident of her raping his son.
Okay. That's very dangerous. Anything could have gone wrong. I've heard about cases where other investigators were called in after the fact where a spouse walked in on someone else smashing their spouse, either way, one way or the other, and things can get a little bit violent. Now, obviously, this is his son, and it sounds like his son was visiting or whatever, but still, this could have gone really, 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 really badly, man. Holy smokes.
This was after Frank finished a late-night shift working as a lineman. In August, it was said the child victim spoke to investigators, and he told them he had been in Florida on vacation over the summer to visit his dad. The teen further said that he had sex with his stepmom, Alexis, after the two of them had vaped cannabis oil and played video games and watched a movie together. Alexis allegedly started telling the teen how horny she was, and that was because she had not had sex in 2 weeks because she was on her period. He also told authorities that his stepmom had been making jokes about her appetite for sex the whole week that he was there before they allegedly did their thing. The teen further said that the two of them had gone to a gym together to work out, and she told him, "I bet everybody thought you were my little boy toy." Unbelievable. Then it was said there was another incident where Alexis made sexual references with a can of whipped cream by putting it on her tongue and then sticking her tongue out at her stepson. He allegedly, the stepson, told police it was like scenes from a Corno, drop the C out of P, he had viewed before, and that she asked him if he liked that type of stuff. Unreal. The teen reportedly started to describe to investigators in detail about how he kissed his stepmom's neck. And then Alexis allegedly said, "I wish you were 18 because you're not old enough." So she knew what she was doing. Then it was said she kicked off her underdrawers before she engaged in oral sex and then intercourse without a condom. Absolutely sickening. The affidavit also said that the two of them heard something in the garage, but they kept going, and that was before the boy's dad / her husband walked in on them doing the disgusting act. The teen then told police he ran to the bathroom with his pants around his ankles when his dad walked in. The teen was then taken to his grandparents' home, and it was said on the way his dad told him he had ruined his life. The teen also said that his dad had made a stop on the way to his grandparents to get a 6-pack of beer and that he was drinking and driving.
All right, man. Now, obviously, this kid shows incredibly poor judgment, but 15 years old, that's what they're going to do, show incredibly poor judgment. So this is all on the mom. Now, the problem I got with this son is, why are you going to snitch on your dad drinking and driving, man? Like, you just had sex with his wife, and you're going to snitch him out for drinking and driving. Like I don't know, man. People aren't training their kids properly now. Clearly they're not. But why snitch out the dad? It just seems like that's something that shouldn't happen. But whatever. Anyway, fair use.
I mean, I can imagine he needed a beer. The next
Hell yeah, he probably did need a drink. You see your son having sex with your wife. Oof. All right. So
day it was said the teen called Alexis and she told him that she wished his dad had not caught them. Then she had the nerve to make references to the size of his penis, and she rated his sexual performance a 7 out of 10.
Okay, she was probably planning on going to the well again. From the sounds of it, I have no idea what her relationship was with her husband, but it doesn't matter one way or the other. That's not on the dad. That's completely on her. But she was definitely planning on going back. And so what older women will do to seduce younger guys is they will use the compliment game. And they will, because the male ego can be incredibly fragile. Because of that, you can be manipulated if you are weak or if you're inexperienced. That's why I say guys need to have experience with women. I'm not saying go around smashing every woman that you see, but you need to understand how they think and the games that they try to run so you can counteract those games. That's why I say that. I'm not saying every woman would do something as dastardly as this. But some of the other things, women use them just like men use very common tactics. And so it's just something that you have to understand. And so they'll use that and pretty much tell the young guy that he is Superman and she's never had anything better and this and that and the other thing. And, she rated him 7 out of 10 to give him room for improvement so he works harder next time or some other nonsense like that. And I've heard conversations like this before. So you've got to be really, really careful when you bring someone into your family. You got to be careful how the dynamics work. Those things have to work out, and they have to work seamlessly. You can't figure it out as you go. If someone's not a fit for your home, you shouldn't be marrying them. You shouldn't get married anyway, but whatever. But if you are going to get married, make sure you're vetting these people before you bring them into your home, because you could be letting the fox into the hen house, as it were. And this woman was the fox, and his home was the hen house. And sounds like she groomed this kid. Obviously, she did groom him a very short period of time, but 15-year-old boy with she looks attractive. Looks like she has a nice body too. Pretty face or decent face, nice body. That 15-year-old kid is going to be helpless. Let's be honest. All right, let's keep going.
She didn't feel anything. She didn't regret anything she'd done talking like that the next day. Now, according to reports, the father never told police about the incident, so a family member eventually told them.
All right. And the only thing, and I'm speculating here, speculation. Since the son was visiting, I'm assuming that the father had partial custody and just had his son for like maybe a week or two during the summer. And he probably knew if he reported this, that his ex-wife would be like, yo, nope, it's a wrap. No more custody. Your wife is banging our son. Your new wife is banging our son. And you know what? Rightly so. I wouldn't blame a mother or a father to not want to let their child go back into that sort of situation. So I'm pretty sure that was probably weighing heavily on the dad's mind as he drank and drove down the road with his son probably still smelling like his wife's insides. What an ugly situation.
Alexis was arrested in November of last year on a sexual battery charge of a minor. In court last December, Alexis reportedly pled not guilty and her trial has been delayed. This is absolutely unreal, and this woman needs to spend many years behind bars, in my opinion. Now, for all the freaks who are going to come on this video saying she didn't abuse him, it was his dream, blah, blah, blah. Yes, she did, and he was 15 years old, and really it sounded like she had been grooming him that whole week. That is abuse. Let me know.
I agree with her her assessment. Obviously, and the law does as well too. That is abuse. There is no consent with an underage person. There is no such thing as consent with an underage person. So, and unfortunately, I've worked on cases where men had a feeling that one guy in particular had a feeling that his wife was messing around on him. So one of the things I always do is ask guys, hey, why do you think your spouse is stepping out on you? And so he said, well, look, she cut off fun bedroom activity. She's changing the way she dresses. She's changing her perfume, just a bunch of different things that are inconsistent with her behavior. Okay. Now, side note, guys, here's a pro tip, as well as gals. Well, women do this naturally. Guys don't normally do this. Get a baseline of activity and behavior patterns for your wife. Women do this automatically. Men do not do it enough. That way, if there's a change in that pattern of life, like we like to call it in the investigation business or surveillance business, pattern of life, what is a person's regular schedule? And so if a person gets up every morning and they go XYZ, they exercise, they stretch out, they make coffee, they make breakfast, they do this, they get dressed, they take, they go to work at this time, go to lunch at that time, come home at that time, they dress a certain way for work. If things start changing or start shifting around, you need to understand what those changes are and how that might might indicate something or some sort of change in behavior, and that should be your first clue. And as well as obviously a lack of fun bedroom activity. If you have a healthy fun bedroom activity relations with your significant other, and all of a sudden everything dries up, or they've acquired or unlocked some brand new skills, that is an indicator. If a dude or a woman is not very good or mediocre at dining at the Y, I guess you could call it, then all of a sudden they're working out like a champ. That's a good indicator that they've acquired those skills practicing with someone else. All right, and I've talked to guys that thought their wives were messing around with them because all of a sudden, they went from being very prudish to all of a sudden being like a she-devil in bed, and it did actually turn out that these women were messing around. So look for changes in behavior, but before you can look for changes in behavior, you have to have a baseline. Watch and observe. Women do this automatically. Kudos to women for doing this. Guys, you got to get with it. All right, women are way ahead of us when it comes to detecting changes in behavior pattern. Women will pick things up right away. They may not say anything, but they will pick it up right away. Men, usually it takes a while, and usually something's been going on for a while before guys even get a clue. Usually, not always. All right, so be careful who you bring into your home. Get a baseline of activity, and if you suspect something, here's what you have to do. Don't say anything if you suspect something. Either investigate yourself, call an investigator, call me, even if I'm out of state. I have a network of investigators all over the country and even internationally, and we can work out these details for you and find things out and give you the answers you deserve. That way you can make an informed decision. So, shout out to this dad. Horrible situation. Hopefully the young man is not too adversely affected. I know some people will say, well, he probably had fun. Yeah, of course, he probably enjoyed the act. Let's not get it twisted. But is this going to have some sort of adverse effect on his future relationships? Definitely. 100% this will have an effect. Maybe adversely, most likely adversely, but maybe not going forward into the future. So this is something that shouldn't happen. Children are children. And we have an age of consent for a reason here in the state of Florida. This case I'm talking about happened in Florida, but I've had other cases where something similar happened and out of state. And we've had the opposite as well too. Stepmom and stepson, or stepdad and stepdaughter. And either way, here it's 18 years old with some caveats. If like the Romeo and Juliet type thing. If there's no more than like a 2-year difference, that's a whole different thing. But in this case, really dastardly. From what I understand of the case, she wound up taking a plea deal. She's only going to get a few years in jail, and probably some of that will be, probation. So she's going to get a slap on the wrist. Had it been reversed, and it's a guy, yeah, I've worked on cases where it was a guy. These guys got the absolute, not the book thrown on them. They got pushed into the book, and the book slammed shut and then crushed, and rightly so. But obviously, there's always going to be kind of a disparity in punishment when it comes to male versus female committing the same crime. I'm not angry at women. I'm just saying that men should have the same opportunity to get a slap on the wrist as well too. But for something like this should be prosecuted to the fullest extent, but it often is not. And the case I worked on, very well-to-do guy and very beautiful wife. I mean, like out of 10, so say from 1 to 10, she's probably 8.5 without makeup. Like beautiful woman, great physique. She had a previous marriage, just like he did. She had 2 children, but her ex-husband had full custody of both those kids. And as we started to unwind more and more of her past, we didn't do any background check before he contacted us. But we kind of do a post-mortem. Sometimes guys will ask, how did I miss this? It had been implicated that she had actually been abusive towards one of her own sons. All right, so clearly, like the woman looked like a normal woman, but inside she is twisted and dark and evil. And so, if he had known this, like, okay, a woman not having custody of her children is a red flag. It is a huge red flag. Women, almost by default, in most places, will get custody of their children, even if they have a bad background or some other associations. I share it on X. I have a good buddy I went to the police academy with. His wife started cheating on him with a dude from a foreign country, a Middle Eastern country, and the guy was he was a suspected radical Islamist, right? And so not putting down Islam, but this guy was a suspected radical, and so he was on one of the many watch lists, and the woman petitioned the court to take their son, on a trip overseas. The judge granted it. All right. And guess what? This guy hasn't seen his son for over a decade. So the court system they're getting a little bit better from what I understand, but the court system is pretty bad when it comes to the equitable administration of the law. It is not fair. It is not fairly dealt out. And so judges will always default to what they call in the best interest of the child or the best interest of the woman or the ex-wife. They almost never mention the best interest of the father. So you guys have to protect yourself. Know the people you're getting involved with. Know the people you're going to be getting engaged with. This woman was a twisted woman from the one I worked on was a twisted woman from the very beginning. This one was also really twisted, but the one I worked on, she had just a past was just littered with so many signs and signals that if he had done a modicum of research or had someone else do a modicum of research, he would have probably run away from this woman. And so one of the things I do with some of the background checks I do, all background checks I do, is I have different tiers, level 1, 2, and 3. And obviously they get more and more invasive. There's no way to put it. They get more and more invasive as you go through the tiers. They do get more expensive as well too. And so I assign a score. From 0 to 9, 0 meaning she has no risk at all, which nobody gets a 0. Let's be honest, that's not realistic. To 9, which is change your passwords, change your locks, and go get an STD check. And so, my goal behind that is to give guys answers and give gals answers that might help them make an informed decision, which is that's all any of us should ever ask for, be able to make an informed decision, know the truth. And so I'll give you those answers. So anyway, sad situations, really, really disgusting behavior. And, you would like to think that adults would not prey on children, especially children that they have some sort of custodial relationship with, but this happens a lot more than people think. So anyway, we'll talk some more. I will talk to you guys in the next one. This is your boy, Private Eye Russ. Oh, while you're here, please do me a favor. It doesn't cost you anything. It's very important to the channel. Hit like, share, subscribe, And I'm trying to grow the channel and increase my reach. Why? Because I don't know why I counted those last two, but because I'd like to be able to devote and dedicate more time to social media. However, my business pays the bills. Social media pays me absolutely nothing. I had somebody on X try to comment that I made. I would put some of the things I would, a lot of it about female nature and about cheating and things of that nature and I do that to educate people. I do that to educate men mostly, but women as well too can learn something from it as well too. But I do a lot of female and male nature, and I give a lot of advice as well to men. And someone said I was doing it just to make money on X. And I was like, look, there was a woman. I was like, look, lady, from last year, for about a year, the money I've generated on X could probably run my two vehicles for a month or two in gas. That's it. X, nobody goes on X to make money. Unless you have a storefront on X or something like that. You don't make money on X. There's no money on X. But I'd like to do more of these things, but I need to grow the community to justify putting more time, effort, and more investment into it. So please help me grow the channel. Again, I'm making an effort to make videos every single day for you guys at the end of the day. I'm making this video right now. It's probably around 8 p.m. I was up this morning at 3:30. And so for me, I work crazy hours anyway. I'm up early in the morning. That's when I get most of my writing done. That's when I get most of my accounting and clerical work done for work. And it's the quiet time. And so I get a whole bunch done. Then it's, analyzing data and directing investigators. And sometimes when I'm lucky now, I can get out and venture out and work on my own cases, which, I'm able to do as well, meet with clients and that sort of thing. So again, if you guys could help me, I would really appreciate it. For those of you who have liked and subscribed, and please comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. I'm going to be making a video probably tonight as well too. I've still got a lot of steam left, and so one individual requested a video specifically about how to be less risk averse, or not risk averse, less confrontation averse. And so I've got some really good ideas, and I'm going to share that with you guys as well too. So this is your boy Private Eye Russ. This has been an episode of the Private Eye Russ Show. I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.